Honestly, Jake Paul, trash. Tommy Fury, trash.
Criticize you for going 6 rounds with Jake Paul. How do you feel about that?
I deserve it.
Gervonta Davis reportedly laughed while reacting to Jake Paul's knockout loss against Anthony Joshua. Tank mocked Jake's punching style, joking about the wide swings and awkward movement shown against an elite heavyweight. His reaction underscores the clear skill gap and reinforces why stepping into the ring with someone like AJ was always a risky proposition. Garcia also weighed in on the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul fight via X. Sharing his thoughts on the matchup, he stated, "I think Gervonta would have done him worse," implying that Davis's skill and power would have presented a far greater challenge than Paul. This comment highlights the perceived gap between the fighters. Meanwhile, the boxing world is buzzing not just about the fight, but also offering controversies. Analyst Fannin recently suggested that Gervonta Davis might pursue a defamation lawsuit against Jake Paul. The claim reportedly stems from Paul allegedly accusing Davis of mistreating a girl. Claim Fannin insists is entirely false. According to him, the accusation is groundless, and the matter is now escalating into a potential legal dispute.
And a real possibility of Gervonta Davis filing a lawsuit against Jake Paul for defamation. A very, very real and possible thing. Jake Paul could be responsible for defamation against Gervonta Davis. I absolutely believe that to be the case. That's because Jake Paul said that he saw a videotape where Gervonta Davis punched a girl in her face. There's no testimony by anybody at all that Gervonta Davis did that. The girl herself is not accusing him of that. The videotape that somebody in the media said that they saw, a journalist said that they were given a copy to, or they were shown a copy of, didn't say it showed anything about Gervonta Davis punching the girl or hitting the girl. It was just that the person categorized it as it looking as if Gervonta was forcing her to leave the club. So basically, she was
Several voices from the boxing world and online reacted strongly to Jake Paul's performance against Anthony Joshua, mixing respect with shock. Chris Eubank Jr. shared on X, "Regardless of the outcome, Jake Paul stepped into the ring with an Olympic gold medalist and former heavyweight world champion and gave his all until the final bell. You have to give the man his respect. He did what most would never attempt and didn't give up. Well done, Jake." Adding some humor, KSI posted his reaction on X, captioning a clip, KSI when he wakes up to Jake Paul getting knocked out, laughing at Paul's loss.
Don't mind me. Just smoking on that Jake Paul pack. Honestly, Jake Paul, trash. Tommy Fury, trash.
Man expressed his disbelief on social media, bluntly stating, "This is horrifying despite the loss." Jake Paul earned recognition from legendary boxers. Former world champion Antonio Tarver commented on YouTube that Paul performed admirably against Joshua. Tarver highlighted that Paul survived all 6 rounds without making the fight easy for AJ. He emphasized that many fighters would have been knocked out much earlier, but Paul demonstrated resilience and determination throughout. According to Tarver, surviving against an Olympic gold medalist and former heavyweight champion deserves credit, showing that Paul took his preparation seriously. Fans and analysts alike noted that Tarver's praise lends credibility to Paul's efforts, as even seasoned pros recognized the value of his performance.
Antonio Tarver after another big fight. Jake Paul stopped by Anthony Joshua tonight. What did you make of it?
I expected it. AJ looked like he was putting that pressure on, but credit to Jake Paul. He didn't make it easy, bro. He wasn't no sitting duck. You know, he got on his footwork, used his ring, was moving a lot, and he landed some shots. So hats off to Jake Paul, but he was in there surviving, and he didn't make it easy for AJ. But AJ landed that right hand. I knew it was over after that.
Why did it take so long, do you think?
Oh, Jake Paul wasn't a sitting duck. You know, he was putting his mind to the game, but just didn't have enough in his bag. He just, like I said, he got to get those lessons and evolve more as a fighter. You know,
You want to see him continue?
yeah, he's gonna continue, of course. Just gotta pick him right, bro, and give yourself a chance. You know what I mean? I think he was just biting off a little bit more than he can chew tonight. You know, his aspirations was a little bit far out.
I think AJ could have got it done a bit quicker.
I mean, I think he was in there to do it, but like I say, Jake didn't make it easy, bro. It's hard to hit somebody when they moving, especially the way he was moving lateral, just, you know, circling. So he had to catch up with him. He hit him with a couple body shots.
Veteran voice Labella, an International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, offered a sharp take on X, delivering his blunt assessment, BT. The guy who should feel ashamed right now is Anthony Joshua. That was his legacy. Paul is a great businessman. AJ doesn't give two shits about boxing. Labella argued that Joshua's performance harmed his standing, while crediting Paul's savvy, questioning AJ's commitment to the sport overall. Medical professionals also weighed in, with Brian Sutter from Maryland providing insight on Paul's fractured jaw. He explained the potential consequences of such an injury, including long-term pain, difficulty eating, and complications if left untreated. Dr. Sutter emphasized that fractures of this nature require careful attention to ensure full recovery and warned that repeated injuries could impact Paul's ability to compete at a high level in the future. His analysis highlighted the serious health implications behind these dramatic moments.
I'll admit I watched the fight pretty boring in the first half before AJ finally turned it on and we got the outcome that we all expected. After the fight though, Jake told Ariel Helwani that he was worried that he had broke his jaw. He said multiple times he was concerned that he had a fractured jaw, and certainly looking at this knockout punch that Anthony Joshua delivers, it is absolutely a possibility that Jake does in fact have a jaw fracture. I'd honestly be more concerned about a concussion. In fact, with most jaw fractures, the more important thing initially is to look for other injuries to the head, to the neck, to the airway. The jaw fracture potentially being there or not is going to be lower on the list often than whether there's damage to the airway, damage to the head. And so very possible to have a concussion or some residual symptoms from this, as Jake Paul's head is relatively still here. We see AJ comes in with that right, and that sudden, quick, violent rotation of the head is going to transmit a lot of rotational force, not only through the brain, but also through the brainstem, absolutely leading to possibility of a concussion. Thankfully, it didn't completely knock him out, but could absolutely result in some delayed symptoms. But you can see where the punch comes in, landing square on that left side of Paul's face. Jake's reaction was pretty telling too. Right away after it, we could see him going down on the canvas here and being very shocked. It doesn't look like there's any obvious deformity to the jaw. We won't necessarily always see a deformity to the jaw, but you could tell he clearly had realized that something serious had happened there and feeling the full power of AJ's right. And finally, on this last view, we can see a little bit better the exact location where the punch comes in. We'll talk about our jaw anatomy, the different areas of the bones, but your temporomandibular.
Kisa by Darian shared her emotional response to the fight, describing herself as heartbroken yet proud over Jake Paul's brutal knockout loss to Anthony Joshua. She acknowledged that Paul gave his best performance under immense pressure, facing one of the most elite heavyweights in boxing history. Her reaction reflects a mix of sadness and admiration, mirroring the sentiment of many fans who, despite disappointment over the loss, still recognize Paul's courage and dedication.
I'm just happy he's safe. I've always been proud of him. I speak constantly from the rooftops, the mountaintops, from my car when I'm moving in the street. Respect Jake Paul. That was the #1 trending thing on Twitter about an hour ago. Respect to Jake Paul. So I'm just thrilled.
With how it went tonight, obviously you guys came in here and you actually did, like, deluded or not what people will say, people believed that Jake Paul could do something crazy tonight. Did you truly believe from the beginning that he might pull it off?
So he 100% believed unequivocally that he was going to win. And I talked about that with him, afterwards when he was getting showered up. He knew it was high risk, high reward. He had to land something big, but he felt like he could. My view was it was going to be very hard, but it could happen, right? And there was moments in that fight where I was like, holy shit, this kid's getting him a little bit. So, when I spoke about no matter what happens, he won.
Anthony Joshua addressed both the outcome and its public perception. He stated that Jake Paul deserves criticism for going 6 rounds against an elite boxer, but emphasized that there was little Paul could have done differently, given the vast difference in experience and skill. By acknowledging the critique while recognizing Paul's effort, Joshua balanced accountability with respect, illustrating the complexity of public opinion in high-profile boxing matches. His nuanced response demonstrates an understanding of his role as a competitor, while maintaining professionalism.
How do you feel?
I feel good. How do I feel? I feel good.
People will criticize you for going 6 rounds with Jake Paul. How do you feel about that?
I deserve it.
Why? Come on.
Because, like, we're elite fighters. Like, so I put myself in the shoes of a coach. If I was coaching Anthony Joshua and he went 6 rounds with Jake Paul, I would get him back in the gym tomorrow, give him a bit of a beating, and we're getting straight back to work, because I'll be like, how are you letting this kid take you 6 rounds? Are you crazy? But I can't go back in time.
He was elusive, though. He made himself a small target. You decided to take your time in there with him.
Yeah, so if you listen back to the interview I done with MVP and Netflix, I said, in boxing, there's a time when you systematically break someone down and you see their soul leaving their body. And after a period of time, 2 things start to happen to them. Either they give up or they get knocked out. And there was a bit of a mix. I broke Jake's jaw.
His teeth look a bit removed as well.
Yeah, his teeth have come out of place. But credit to him, he done well. But I told him what was going to happen, but it just took 6 rounds to do that. And I swear to you, yeah, so I'm going to tell you this. Listen to everything I say. I watched The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. And there was a game where someone said to him, they didn't say hi to him. And he said to them,